What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Sisters, One Book. I'm Carla.
I'm Amanda. We're two sisters, two moms tackling one book at a time. Before we start, I just want to call out all the bakers because I know you guys could do it. There's a lady here in Glendale who I want to ask. I want to give her chapter 15 and I want to try those cakes.
Seriously. I'm like, where do we go to try these cakes out? Because I would love to try that. So if anybody who's listening is a baker, yeah, read chapter 15. And if you can, send both Amanda and I some samples because we would try those all day.
Oh my gosh, I'll even pay for it. But yeah, I was thinking about there's a few ones that have really good detail in them, and the other ones I feel like you just have to get creative with it, which I know these bakers totally could. But I feel like next time you're here, we have to send a request to the Glendale lady who does the pretty desserts because she does all the desserts from the Bridgerton whatever show and a bunch of other books and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, how fun would that be? But okay, that's my side note for this book. I want the cake.
Yes. Let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna have to reach out. This is gonna be our request. We want these specific cakes sampled for us if we can, please. We would greatly
Yes.
appreciate it.
Especially that lemon one. Oh my gosh.
The
Okay.
chocolate one, that was like, but you know I love chocolate. I'm a chocolate cake fanatic. So and when I saw that chocolate one, I was like, that's it. That's my
Game
cake. I'm choosing
over.
it for you. Yeah.
That's it. That's the one I choose right there. Yeah, I'm very curious to see if Hunter did choose a cake and which one he chose. Anywho,
If we don't find out, Briar, we need to know which which
which cake
cake
would you
did they
choose?
choose?
Yeah.
That is
Um,
the most important thing out of all the chapters we read is what cake did they choose?
right. That's the one that we hung on to. Um, okay, well, bring it back in. We left off with Hunter and Sienna leaving that little like antique kind of shop with the moss and everything. And clearly they freaked out the shop owner and everything because he locked the door behind them, told them to get out and stuff. And the next day we see Sienna in the library looking up moss and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really cool to see. Hunter's still not my vibe though. He seems like a fake. I had a little hope for him in the beginning of this chapter, and then all of it just lost for some reason. It's just I can't shake it. But yes, the library scene before we get into why I don't like Hunter. The
Well,
libraries.
he was showing a little hesitation. Not completely. And what's funny is when I was reading it, I was like, Amanda's probably shaking her head. I knew it. And I
Yeah.
was like, she's probably pissed. I mean, it wasn't that like I think he's hiding something, but I do think that he worries. And it could be that if he is hiding something, I think he knows a little bit more about the grandmother. And maybe he knows the grandmother was series again, but maybe she was like looking into things that she wasn't supposed to. And now he sees Sienna looking into stuff similar. So he's just kind of like maybe worried for her. Um, and he also, I mean, he knows how bad and evil his dad is and how evil the king can get. So, I mean, I do think that his worries do kind of, make sense. But yeah.
No, I feel like okay, so I feel like he's only telling Sienna what she wants to hear. Like with the whole thing, he even kind of hinted. So once again, I could be taking this out of context, but just because I don't like him so much, I automatically just think he's the bad guy. Yes, I know I probably shouldn't have, but this is how it's going down in my brain. Because the way he worded, something happened with your grandmother, and I feel like we're next. So I know he knows there's something more, and the fact that he said all he has is his honor because now he's in the guard. I can't tell you everything. Okay, what do you know? Because now I want to know. I know you know something after that statement. And Sienna was just so calm about it, saying, no, I know I'm asking a lot of you. You don't have to help me. I would have been like, no, you clearly know something. What is it? First, I feel like you just threatened us by saying we're next to die. And two, you just physically told me you can't tell me everything. So what are you hiding? Yeah, that made me mad.
No, and I know it did. I was reading it and I knew you were mad. I was like, Amanda is probably fuming right now. Her book is probably on the other side of the room because she is that pissed off. I do think that his worriness does stem from Sienna's safety and how he doesn't want something to happen to her. Now, I will agree with you that I do think that he probably knows more than what he's willing to share. It's just I don't think his intentions are malicious. I think it's more of a way of he's trying to protect Sienna, and I don't know, I'm trying to give the guy some grace
Oh, we
because
know you are.
well, that's how I try to look at like the positives behind it. Unless you're Nesta from A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I had no sympathy for that girl. I was like, no. But I try my best to give people the benefit of the doubt when I can. And so until I see Hunter really actually like do something that would warrant some type of a problem, and who knows, it could be his betrayal. I could hear about his betrayal and be like, I got no sympathy for you, dude, you know? Um, but we'll find out.
Yeah, yeah, we will. So we see that he does say that he is going to stay with her and help her out. He picks up a book. But then once again, this is where, because as we continue forward, unless you wanted to talk about their little spicy scene that they had.
Well, I just think that like the two of them, obviously they're drawn together. I think we see a little bit more of a, he really wants to make things work with her and he's willing to go at her pace. But I do think we see Sienna fighting herself a lot. Like she does have feelings for this guy and she does want to be with him in a way, but I think she's also remembering that what she's feeling is stuff from her past and that she can't move forward with him because whatever he's done has really lost her trust. That's kind of what I grasped out of their whole thing because we see her kind of this push and pull of her wanting to kind of be with him and explore these intimate relationships with him, but she just can't fully do it. And then I feel like there's also a reason why everyone keeps interrupting them. Like she stopped it the first time, and then this time it was your friendly little old man with the cart who comes through, who's like, "Oh, your father wants you." I was like, "Oh, see, Amanda knew he was coming back." He was coming back as more of a cock blocker, but he was coming back nonetheless.
Yeah. But the old man was kind of sweet about it. He's all like, next time I'll tell them I haven't seen you guys. And I'm like, no, you get Hunter out of there. But that's
I
just
did
my
think the paper cut was weird. Like not weird, but I was wondering,
right.
like I was like, was that an intentional paper cut because she was getting close to figuring something out, or like what happened? Because like we know, writers will usually throw these little moments in as like maybe dropping slight hints or something small, and a lot of times you overpass it. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but I did think like, oh, that's an interesting thing. He got a paper cut and it clearly hurt him bad enough to where they had to stop what they were doing and she had to heal him. So I don't know. What did you think of that?
I thought it was interesting. I know it was described as a really old book. I'm hoping somebody took that book in because, like you said, it could have the paper. It was just weird. He opened the book and then he got a paper cut, is how I read it. And it was just like, is the book telling you, like, you're not the person to open the book? Is it like spelled? Is
Mm.
a spell put on it or something? And only Sienna's supposed to open the book? Like it might tie in again with the grandmother, and I could be once again totally like delusional on this one, but it is very interesting how he got. It seems like a crazy paper cut because as she was healing him, they watched together the skin get back, like combine back together. So there's something in that book. I know it. Watch there be
Yeah, I
nothing
feel
in
like
the
we're
book.
gonna. No, I was gonna say, I feel like we're gonna see this book come back, but I guess we'll find out the more the more we continue reading. But I do think that book had some type of a significance, and I wonder what it is. I just wonder what was in that book because it was an older book, and so it's like you kind of see these older books, and you're like, oh, maybe it has some type of like ancient thing going on in there, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the book. We could pin it up on our pin board so we
Yes.
don't forget about that book. And then let's see, Hunter gets taken away to the training ring area with the king guards, and our Sienna is once again ballsy and she goes down to see the wolf guy, our famous wolf
Hmm.
guy. That
And can
scene
I
was a little
say,
crazy.
she has balls because we already know that the king is suspicious of her. And I would not put it past the king to have some like secret guards hiding, or which obviously we know the guard who was watching the entrance is clearly like terrible at his job because he was like half asleep. And even though, yeah, she was dressed in like her outfit where she can disguise herself, but it's like, are you guys, I mean, clearly they should be looking for somebody who might be going down there to help. And if I was the king, I would think I'm going to have somebody hiding, watching everything that's going on, and whoever goes in, I want them to see. So she definitely has some balls to go in there and do it again.
Yeah, she is very, very brave. And I thought it was interesting too. So when was it? The first time it was early morning, right? Because the foxhounds were like whimpering and crying or howling or something. And this time around, she went down there and they were like dead asleep, and nobody made a ruckus until she came out. So I was like, that's your sign to start going around that time because less ruckus and everything. But she was smart by trying to bribe. She did have the upper hand and everything. She didn't go into the wolfman's cage, but she bribed him with food to get answers that she wanted. And clearly this guy is way smarter and he knows exactly what he's doing. It's kind of scary.
This isn't his first time being in a
I feel
dungeon.
like it's not his first time at all. Like I'm like,
he's like my
damn.
he's like my plan all along was to get into this dungeon. So
Doesn't it seem like that though? But yeah,
yeah.
they get more curious, sir, on the queen. Not the queen. She gets more information on the moss. The moss.
Yeah, she's curious about the moths and she wants to know what he knows about it.
Yeah, I like how he put that the moths into perspective. See, I knew they were a group of people, but he called what did he call them? Like worms, because they're from worms, and then
So
they turn out beautifully.
I actually wrote down his quote because I wanted to talk about it with you. He says, they emerge gloriously from the husk of their former selves, reborn from little more than worms. And then he goes on to tell Sienna that she is not a worm, but she's also not a moth. So,
Hmm.
like, I don't know, how did you interpret that sentence? Because I there was something that I kind of interpreted, but I want to hear what you thought.
A worm because they meant like the commoners. So she's not just a common, like a lower person. She's more higher up, maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know. But
Hmm.
to me, she isn't a worm. She is somebody special. So,
Yeah. Well, because I mean, I think so the way I kind of interpret it was that he was saying that because we know that the moths, after listening to the rest of their conversation, had something to do with specific people, right? And like almost like maybe a sympathizer or whatever you want to call it. Um, and I kind of interpreted it as the moths represent people who have come from the kingdom but have like shed out of their original, like, okay, how's the best way to describe this? I took it as you have these people who are in the kingdom. Everybody in the kingdom is led to believe their king, their queen is like this terrible ruler. They're taking over land. Like you are born and bred to believe that this is your enemy. But it could be a symbolization of like people from Lewin that are coming out of like that original belief and are starting to see the true colors of what's really going on. So it could be like a rebirth of like kind of like what you said last time. What was that called? Not a
rebellion.
riot. Yes.
Uh,
It's like, yeah, people who are coming out who are kind of becoming a rebellion. So I guess maybe if that is the case, that you and I weren't too far fetched last episode when we were talking about it possibly having something to do with a rebellion. Um, but yeah, I kind of took it as maybe the moth represents people who are coming out and rebelling against what they were originally told to believe because they're realizing the enemy, it's more of their own kingdom.
hmm Yeah, which we kind of learned more about that in the last chapter we read, which was
Hmm.
exciting. Brought a lot of life to it. But yeah, she did kind of get the information she kind of wanted. Probably left her with more questions though than answer. We do know that the moss do mean something.
Hmm.
And she you could tell, I felt like you could tell that she was on the fence of trying to I don't know. The way I read that chapter, I was like, I feel like she kind of wants to leave with him. She
Oh
can
yeah.
talk to the queen. that
Oh yeah,
she's
I think
being
she's
held
starting to
back.
realize that she's not, yeah, like she's not going to be able to come out with any answers from where she's currently at. And the only way for her to really get the answers she's seeking is to put herself in the situation where she is going to have to go to enemy territory and talk with the queen and go with the wolf. And I think she's starting to develop a little bit more trust for the wolf. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so moving forward to our cake chapter.
So excited. I did. I was like, cake.
Yay. I liked they're trying out their wedding cake for their wedding and everything, and it was kind of funny how she's all like the very first cake they have, she's like, "This is good, we're good." It was like that strawberry cream cake, and he's like, "No, your highness, you have 12 dozen more cakes." And I was like, 12 dozen more cakes? Like, oh my gosh, I would feel so sick. On top of that, with
Yeah, you better go in hungry.
every champagne you're trying, and we see Hunter clearly stuffing his face with all the cakes and stuff, and
He's like,
I
I
thought
love
it
getting married.
yeah, I thought it was really sad. I felt really bad for him when he did say this is the best day ever. And then we learn more when Sienna gets called in that she made a comment. Hunter's dad has this look, so we clearly know Hunter used to get beat all the time when he was a kid, which that kind of made me
Yeah.
sad. So of course the cake and the wedding day would be very exciting for him. But any bakers out there, I'm still if you want to bake us chapter 15, I'll pay you to send us some. That'd be
Vegas
great.
chapter 15.
It's only like the first couple of like paragraphs anyways, because like Carla said, the king summons Sienna to his it's not chambers, but to I guess a meeting area, which that scene made me, man, that guy is just ugh. I
Oh
hate that
yeah,
guy.
you.
How
I
did
feel
that
like every
scene?
time, I feel like every time we see the king, we see more of an evil side to him, and it's like, I thought I couldn't like you anymore.
That
Can you
went
believe?
dark. That went dark. Okay, so we have the king and we have Commander Malin, who is just the way they were describing him, anyways, just seemed up to no good, anyways. And we see Sienna getting the king riled up, not riled up, but being a little defiant because he says sit. So she sits farther away from him. And then they bring
Yeah.
out the wolf man, who the king knows is Tristan. Which
Yes, we learned his
how did,
name. We learned his
yeah,
name.
how did he know his name was Tristan? I want to know.
He told him. So
Oh,
the
he
king
did?
asked
I remember.
him, like, yeah, the king asked him, like, who are you? And he says Tristan. And I was like, man, that's such an original name for a wolf. I love
I
it.
like it. I like that
Yeah.
name, Tristan. I
Hmm.
like Tristan because of, have you seen King Arthur?
Of course not. I haven't seen anything you've told me about so far.
I know. I need to get a new sister-in-law. Aaron, just kidding. I'm kidding. No,
Fired.
I wanted to name my boys Tristan, but clearly I didn't win that fight. But I thought that was a sweet moment, and the king is kind of ballsy because what does he do? He brings out like this platter of cheese and meats and stuff, and he brings out Tristan, says he's a guest of honor, and takes off his shackles. Like, would you ever do that with a prisoner you didn't trust? Like, you must feel like you have a higher ground to take off the shackles of somebody that you don't even know, right?
Yes. Now, to be fair, the king technically doesn't know he's a wolf. At least
I
I
know.
don't
So
believe
why
so.
would you do that?
I don't know. I mean,
Still,
the only thing, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think the only way that I can really, I guess, try to understand what the king's doing is if you think about it, whenever you see a situation where you or you release the prisoner from their shackles and all that, it's almost like an intimidation tactic where you're trying to say, like, you don't scare me, I'm going to allow you to have some freedom, you're going to sit here and you're going to listen to me. And it's like kind of a way of showing power. Now obviously I think if the king knew he was a wolf, he never would have done that. um but because he doesn't know that, I mean, he's thinking that the that Tristan is just like a sympathizer, and that if we're going with the rebellion theory, he could probably be thinking, "Oh, this person in here is clearly like a sympathizer. He's probably part of the rebellion. So I'm going to show him he has no power here. Let's unshackle him, and let's find out how well he does know my daughter."
Yeah. Yeah. So the king does describe it's either the king or Tristan describes the sympathizers as people who are awakened and realize that this kingdom is taking the land of the dead queen and making them suffer and everything. And we do see the second he does unshackle Tristan. So weird to say. He goes behind his daughter and puts a knife to her throat because he does want to get that reaction and everything. And he goes super far with that, which I thought was kind of scary. But we do realize, okay, so Sienna does explain it in her head that without her, because like you said, the next heir to be born, one, it's not born yet and it's way too young. Happened during childbirth. We don't know what's going to happen, like the sicknesses that are around either. So
Hmm.
he is very ballsy to put a knife to his child's throat. But then we find out that Tristan does give them what they want, and he goes, "Our kingdom," which then shows that okay, he is part of the dead queen's
Yeah,
kingdom.
yeah, yeah.
So
Because yeah, they're talking about um, what does he say? He says something like, yeah, well, because we do see that Sienna, it kind of has this realization as they're talking where she's like, everything that Tristan is saying that we are doing to them is everything that we've been taught to believe that they're doing to us. We've been taught to believe that they're taking over our lands, that they're coming after our people, that they're
which I said
destroying
that in the
us.
beginning. I did say that.
You did. You did. You were like, it probably is going to be opposite. And that's exactly what Tristan's saying. And we're seeing that probably everything that Sienna is starting to see now is opening her eyes to, I think this guy is telling the truth. At first, she's like, no, he's lying. There's no way. We're not the ones who are going after them. They're the ones coming after us. Like I was at the front lines and then you kind of see this in her mind where she's like, I think I saw what I saw. Like she starts doubting herself. She's like, did I actually see the things that I'm thinking, or was I so focused on them being the enemy that I closed my mind off to other possibilities? Um, but yeah, and then Tristan kind of slips up and he goes, because they said something like, what did they say? Oh, because he says like, oh yeah, you're destroying our people, and he goes, well, the king's like, well, you guys can just reanimate your people, or the wolves can just reanimate these people. So what's the problem? And then all of a sudden, you see the wolf man, Tristan, and he goes, "We don't reanimate people." And that's when they realize, "Oh, dang, this guy's a wolf. He's not just a sympathizer. He is the enemy." And so that's when everybody starts to swarm in, and that was a wild scene.
Yeah. No, it was. And then we see our Tristan finally using his powers. And then the king like really slices his daughter's, which wow. Like, I don't did do you think he did that out of fear or do you think he just slipped up? Like, oops.
I don't know because I was going to ask you earlier and I forgot, but I was going to ask you, like, do you think that what he was doing, like, he would really go that far? Or do you think that, he was just using as more of a scare tactic? I think he, it was more of everything was happening in the moment and he just kind of did it. But I don't think that was his original outcome. I think he was trying to do it as more of fear. But I also don't see him as the type that would be like devastated if something
Absolutely
happened
not.
to his daughter, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it was a more of a scare tactic because if they really were involved and something really was happening, he would have been like, wait, no, don't touch her. But he kept his cool the whole time and he was trying to find the heir of the north, he said. And then
Yeah, that was what is the heir of the North? Because the North,
maybe it's has something once again to do with the grandmother and it's really red. Who knows?
it very well could be Sienna. Maybe Sienna is maybe the heir of the North. That could be a possibility. I mean, we'd have to have some other clues that would connect us into believing that, but it's not so far fetched because she was extremely close with the grandmother. What if, okay, get this. What about this theory? What if Sienna was the heir to both the North and the South? Because she is the only heir technically for the king. But
And
then
she
what if
did
she happened?
say the dad didn't really care for the mom either.
Yeah. What if like the grandmother has something to do like with the dead queen? She has, she could be in some relation, whether she's a sister or I don't know, something. The mother would be a descendant. We don't really know Sienna's mother. We just know that she supposedly died when Sienna was born. But what if that's not really the case? What if the king did something to her? Because then technically she could also be an heir for both kingdoms. She could be the one heir to everybody.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I see.
I see where you're going with that.
I don't think the
And
king
I
did
like it.
anything to the mom, but um because I feel like the king hates Sienna because the mom died trying to give birth to him. Not him, her, but not saying that he loved the mom so much. I think he just wanted more um heirs.
If the king really loved the queen,
I don't
which
think
we
he
do see
did.
Sienna, well, right, because Sienna even makes comments like, I don't think my dad really loved my mother. But if he really did care about her, let's say he does, why would he dislike the grandmother so much? Because it seems like he really has a dislike for Sienna's grandmother. There was really no sympathy when it came to the grandmother and what happened to her. He's trying to hide whatever happened to her. I mean,
He
there's
came
so
out
much
with
that's going
it.
on.
Didn't they slip up? Like even Tristan said something about you're killing your own people, which was a clue for the
Yes.
grandmother too. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, he does.
Sienna, he kind of hints it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He does kind of
So,
hint it. Um, but he, and Sienna even says, like, my grandmother, like, it wasn't confirmed, but there was kind of like a hint that was put out there as like, you're doing this to your own people. And I do think, after what we've read and everything we've seen so far, I do believe that the grandmother was a sympathizer. And it's just now connecting the dots to then and what happened to her and why the king did it.
yeah.
And what the heck is up with Hunter's dad? That's something else we got to figure out.
Dude, okay. So, leading back to that, we could say Tristan doesn't want to leave Sienna behind and everything. And then this is how the chapter ends, which I want to read so much more because Commander Malin and the king are gone and there's a secret tunnel. But that commander man, you have to keep an eye out on for him. He's not a good guy. And I feel like
I
something's going to
know.
happen in a bad way.
I think,
To
yeah,
so,
yeah.
but where did they go?
But we do,
And how did they know to leave? Like, did they know this
yeah,
was gonna happen? Like, just to put it out there, maybe this was his way of, like Sienna said, have the wolf man get portrayed to kill Sienna and everything. That way they unleashed. I have so many theories that I don't know how to get out of my head right now.
it could be something like that. It could be that her father, maybe he was doing something where he's like, okay, he hurt his daughter. We know he did. He takes off and he leaves. And let's say something actually did happen to Sienna. It's very easy for the king to portray, I let him come in and, we were having a nice conversation and, eating grapes and all that stuff. And then next thing you know, he jumps out and becomes this, wolf and he takes out my daughter. And so it could be like the king's backup plan in case something went wrong, or he just thought of it in the moment when he realized this guy's a wolf. Because the wolf like shut the lights off, didn't he? He like shut the lights
He
off
used
and
his
you
shadows. He made it completely dark.
that's what it was. Yeah, he used his shadows. And so you hear people fighting, and we know that he grabs Sienna, and Sienna's thinking, oh, great, it's my father here to just like finish everything. But in reality, it was actually Tristan, and Tristan was like pulling her to the side because he didn't want her to get hurt more or get caught up in the commotion of what was going on. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I have to help you. Like, I thought that was really sweet that he was right there. He's like, I can't leave you. I need to help you. That's what makes me think there is something more that he knows about Sienna. Like he knows she's important one way or the other, because
Yeah.
he wasn't going to leave her until she said, they will heal me, but you can't be here. You need to leave. And then he leaves. So it's like, maybe the whole thing, since he was saying, I came for the heir of the North, which didn't they make it seem like that was a book,
Yeah, because they
right?
said, "Oh, you have better luck in the library."
Yeah. But what if Sienna, like he's speaking in more literal terms. What if Sienna was the heir of the North? And so he's there to bring Sienna back to the North. And that's why he was trying to tell her, come with me because the queen can answer your questions. Like he's doing everything he can to get her there. And then he doesn't even want to leave without her. But he almost feels forced to because she's like, they're not going to, you can't heal me. The only way that I'm going to be healed is if you leave and I will meet you somewhere and then you and I can go to the North together. And that's when he's like, okay. And he jumps out the window and he takes off. And that, yeah, that's where we end it. But I mean, I don't think we're too far off to think that Sienna either has something to do with the heir of the North or she could be there.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. That's a good one.
I know. I like our good ones. Gosh. Yeah. So now I was like, I want to keep reading so bad because it's like we do this to ourselves, Amanda. We end ourselves on cliffhangers and we don't do it on purpose. We just do.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. But yeah, no, that was it. That's how it ended. It ended well, actually ended Hunter coming into the room and
Yeah.
trying to heal her. It's like, weren't you just eating cake?
That's what
Like,
I was wondering. I was like, did he leave? He was sitting there eating his cake, and they're like, "Yeah, listen, you like you're needed. Your queen needs you, and or your princess needs you." And so he leaves, and he finds her. But he was also trying to heal her, but he wasn't able to heal her. I think to the point where she could have healed herself, but
mhm.
she can't. She also mentions that she can't heal herself. So I'm curious to know why, or if it just involves like you putting your strength and your power into people and because she doesn't have that because she's hurt. I don't know, but we do know that he
Well,
did try to heal her.
I know a lot of these stories, and even in games where if you're like a cleric or if you're able to heal people, you can't heal yourself. Hence why a lot of these healing people like to travel in groups. So the only person, if you really think about it now, if Hunter's unable to save her the way she needs to be saved, the only person who could save her is her dad. Like, how
Ooh,
scary is that?
yeah, that's not
Like, and now the
that's not
question
good.
is he going to save her? One, or is Hunter able to get her to a point where her body then can naturally save herself? Because, like reality, he just has to stop the bleeding, which we know he can. So hopefully the king didn't cut too far down. Or does Hunter stop the bleeding and has to take him to the dad now? Is she going to make it to the rendezvous point to meet up with Tristan? Or is she going to now be stuck in a room with her dad still? Dun dun dun.
What if there's another healer somewhere? What if there's
Ah,
somebody
that's what I'm
else?
hoping for. Yes. But who?
Like there could be, I don't know, it could be, you know who it is? I think I figured it out. It's the guy
Who?
in the library. It's the guy in the library. I think he's the healer.
Would be crazy if it is. He read a lot of books. He knows what he's doing. Give him a shot.
No, but I do think that the hope is maybe Hunter knows somebody who's also a healer. Or maybe this is where the grandma comes out because again we're going with our theories that maybe she's not really gone. No, I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm hoping that they have another healer because I think if we're putting all of our hope in the dad healing her, I don't see that happening.
Okay, me neither. Me
Yeah.
neither. So hopefully Hunter's able to stop it. But yeah, I'm hoping the next three chapters we read, I'm hoping that we see Kristen and Sienna leave together out of the kingdom. I
Yeah.
hope she makes it to the rendezvous point, and I hope that they leave together. That's what I'm hoping.
Him too. And I'm thinking that Hunter isn't going to go with her. I kind of feel like Hunter is going to be like, I have to stay. And
Mhm.
so she ends up just going with,
I don't think she's gonna
or
tell Hunter.
true. Well, I guess
I
she
hope
might
she doesn't
not. I
tell
guess,
Hunter.
yeah, because
Or
you don't
unless she
trust that
does and
guy.
he doesn't show up, and then he brings the whole night guard because he doesn't trust the wolf guy now, because now in his head he thinks that this is the wolf guy's fault. See?
Yeah.
I think the worst of him.
Uh,
You think the best of him? I think the worst of him. So let's see who's right on the next episode.
no, I hope for the best for him. That's what I'm hoping he's not a a bad guy is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Let's see who's right. Team Amanda or Team Carla?
Yeah, let us know in the comments who do you guys where are you guys at with Hunter right now? Are you
Except
guys
the people who've already read the book. Just kidding.
yes. Well, if you finished the book and you know the outcome, then let us know at this point where you were in the book, were you leaning more towards Hunter being a villain or were you more leaning towards him being a non-villain? You know, I mean, what were you guys at? What were your thoughts on this? I would be very curious to know who you guys were siding more with during listening to all this. So let us know in the
I,
comments.
I have trust issues, clearly. Clearly.
So what are we reading next? We have 5 chapters left in part 2. Okay, so we are going to read the rest of part 2. So we are going to read the next 5 chapters. That way we don't leave you guys with like 1 chapter left before we did a couple episodes ago where we're like, oh, we should have just kept reading. So yeah, we're gonna read the next 5 chapters, which is gonna go through chapter 20. I do think we're gonna find out some really interesting information moving forward. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't
Me
wait.
too. I'm super excited. I'm very curious
So
to see if we're right on anything yet.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to add before we end the episode?
No, but we love you guys.
Yes, make sure if you guys are listening to us on Spotify or Apple that you make sure you hit subscribe, leave us a comment, make sure to share this with a friend. If you are watching us on YouTube, again, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the video because that really helps kind of push this out. Leave a comment, thumbs up. Let us know what you guys are thinking of this book. I'm really liking this book. This book is so fun. She did such a great job at writing it. So yeah, let us know what your guys' thoughts are on this book and how much you guys are enjoying it with us. Make sure to follow us on social media. We are on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure you guys give Briar Knightley, the author of the book, a follow. She is also on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, be on the lookout because you guys, there is a book 2 to this book. So yeah, we're probably not gonna get all of our answers in this book, but we do hope to get as much as we can. So yeah, be on the lookout for all that information. But other than that, I guess we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.